number 11 ranked Li Jingliang, and actually I believe it's flipped, man. I think it's Jingliang Li. I think Li is his like last name or whatever the case may be. Nonetheless, he opens up as a plus 425 underdog against the minus 575 KHAMZAT Chimaev. And AJ, I have to tell you this, man. At first, when Chimaev came onto the scene, I was like, a little fluky. Look, who's this dude fighting? John Phillips, Reese McKee, and then finally he gets, who's the last one? Gerald Mearshart. GM3 was the real one, where it's like, okay, this dude's legit, right? However, I had to go take a step back. And I watched all of his fights, right? He only has, he's 9-0. He doesn't have that many fights. I watched all of his fights. They all end the same way. All of them. He just mauls his opponents, man. Gets them, picks them up, carries them to his corner, drops them against the cage, and then just destroys them with ground and pound. Or there was one fight, man, where this dude came in and he came in on a shot on KHAMZAT Chimaev, and he just hit him with an uppercut, one-hitter quitter. The dude was out like this, one of those knockouts, man, which is scary, terrible. But this is like KHAMZAT at like 2-0, you feel me? Like killing the game, right? So now that I've watched basically every single one of his fights, I am very much in agreement with this line, which makes me kind of feel away because the leech, Li Jingliang, is no joke, no slouch whatsoever. But AJ, tell me, how impressed are you with Chimaev, and what chances do you think Jingliang has to keep this fight standing?
Man, yeah, I'm with you, Derek. I watched almost every single one of his fights, all the ones I can see. And folks, if you want to go check them all out, good thing is it's going to be under 20 minutes because this dude has 9 fights, 9 finishes. Only 2 made it out of the first round, and this dude is dropping everybody, man. It's absolutely insane. One of them is John Phillips. I mean, credit to him for making it out of the first because, yeah, Chimaev is an absolute killer, man. Li Jingliang, though, this dude is game, man. He's absolutely game. If you watch the stare down, they didn't want to break eye contact, man. The leech is there to show up, keeps his hands busy, keeps his head busy. He's down to trade, good kick, super fast. I think this is one of the bigger tests. Don't get me wrong, GM3 was a hell of a test for Chimaev, but I also think the leech has a lot to offer in this fight, man. Both of these dudes are down for a war. I mean, very few killers have been able to stand up against Chimaev, and he just absolutely handles them the entire way. My only thing is Chimaev underestimating the leech? Maybe a little bit. We'll see. What do you think, Derek?
I don't know if he's underestimating him. I just think he has supreme confidence because all he does is the same thing every time. He'll throw a shot or throw a head kick and immediately shoot a double leg. And as soon as he gets the double leg, he picks you up, takes you to the corner, drops you. But here's the difference, though. Li Jingliang has ridiculous takedown defense, man. His takedown defense is so good. When I was watching his last fight against Santiago Ponzinibbio, even against Neil Magny, man, these dudes have a tough time getting him to the ground. And when they do get him to the ground, his takedown get-ups are really good. So he gets right back up to the feet. Very strong base. And I agree, AJ, man. This dude's feints, his head movement, the active lead hand sets up that bomb of a right hand that he has. And that left hook right hand combo, man, is absolutely nothing to play with. But then again, for Chimaev, man, if we're looking at his significant strikes landed per minute, it's at a very high clip because a lot of it is ground and pound, right? So if all it takes is him to get you to the ground, put a Dagestani handcuff on you, and then just start pounding away, not only is that building points in the eyes of the judges, man, but it's just making it not look competitive. Against John Phillips, his first round was a 10-7. Like, that's like a boxing thing. Like, you don't really see that in MMA like that. You feel me? So I don't want to sing Chimaev's praises too high, but I do know these are what my notes are on him. Relentless wrestling, ground and pound against the cage is his go-to. His double leg is nearly unstoppable, and he has serious power in the right hand. But for the leech, man, those feints and how he's always feinting that active hand, feinting for the uppercut. So I think he's going to be like, if you shoot on me, motherfucker, like, I got something coming for your ass. However, there have been fights where Chimaev says, oh, you think I'm just a wrestler? Nah, man, I'm a kickboxer too. So I think that Chimaev, if he starts landing those big power combos on Jingliang, man, it might be an issue, man. But then again, my other counterpoint to that is Jingliang will make you pay if you're out of position. He will make you pay with the counter. So when we're talking about accuracy, there's significant strikes per minute. Accuracy, 42% for the leech, 72% for Chimaev, just ridiculous. 66% defense for Chimaev, 59% for the leech. And takedown defense, 59% for Jingliang. Chimaev has never had to stuff a takedown in his UFC career thus far. So 0% there. When it comes down to it, AJ, the notable wins is the difference here. Chimaev, it's GM3. That's the only notable win where you're like, ooh, okay, interesting. For the leash, he's had tough tests, man. He knocked out Diego Lima. He knocked out Santiago Ponzinibbio. He knocked out Zaleski dos Santos, and he knocked out David Zawada. So it's like we know it's power versus power here, except it's going to be stand-up power versus grappling and stand-up power. With that being said, AJ, the over-under on here, guess what the over-under is? What do you think? How many rounds do you think the over-under is on this one?
I think it's 1.5.
Yes, sir. 1.5 rounds, minus 115 for 1.5, minus 115 for minus 115 for over, minus 115 for under 1.5 rounds on both ends right here. Where are you going on this one, man? Over or under? You think the leech could stay in there over 2 rounds?
No, man, I'm going with the under on this one, man.
Sheesh.
Until proven wrong, you gotta rock with that under,
Yeah,
man. I mean, 9-0 regardless in the UFC. He's not really fighting cans. Arguably, GM3 is the only one that's a really notable win. But what did he do against GM3? Shot a right hand down the pipe and absolutely blasted him. Didn't need much more after that,
absolutely.
man. Yeah, I think the only thing that could possibly hurt Chimaev though is there's more film coming out. Each fight he has more and more time to really watch this guy. And since he hasn't fought in, I forget how long, a lot of people have been able to catch up. They've seen what he's doing, seen how it's going. So do you think the fact that he has more film out there on him is going to be able to hurt him? And will Jingliang have the ability to put that, plan into action?
Well, I'm going to say I don't think that having more film on Chimaev is going to hurt him because he does the same thing every fight. So it's like everybody is expecting it. And it's one of those things where it's just like Ronda Rousey, right? Like, she's going to try to hip toss you, armbar. We know that for every fight, and she did it for every single fight. Now, was she fighting the same competition that these guys are fighting in this day and age? Maybe not. Maybe so. That's neither here nor there. But it's going to be an interesting fight regardless, man. 18-6. That's the big caveat here, AJ. 18-6 is the leech, man. A lot more experience than Chimaev. That hasn't stopped him thus far because when he fought GM3, but GM3 got 40 fights, something crazy like that. So didn't stop him there. But I think the last thing that we need to talk about here, AJ, is just what does this fight mean in the welterweight division? KHAMZAT, he had a ranking next to his name for just like a split second, but if he wins this fight, he can arguably be thrusted into the top 10, fast-tracked on to be fighting Kamaru Usman or whoever the welterweight champion is going to be in the near future. Do you think that a win here, especially if it's an early victory by Chimaev, skyrockets him into the rankings, into that title conversation to a degree or not?
Maybe not the title conversation exactly, because that whole little mix up of those like 3 or 4 is absolutely insane. But I think this guy at least gets number 5. Yeah. Like if not in the top 3, this dude at least gets number 5. And I think the biggest thing for Chimaev, if he gets this fight done early in round 1, you got to pair him up against killers. It's just not safe, not fair. You can't be pairing him up with anybody below number 5 because this dude will hurt people, man. That's the thing. But Li Jingliang, almost even more impressive if he gets it done, man. Absolutely. He does this. That's going to skyrocket him way to the top. That'd be super impressive. I think Chimaev gets the higher jump, though, if he gets the win. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. So Jingliang, if he knocks out Ponzinibbio and then finishes Chimaev, that would be ridiculous for him, man. That's like talk about like an resurgence of the career right there. But for Chimaev, man, I think he already has star power outside of what's going on here. All it took was 3 finishes back to back, right? 2 of them within the span of 10 days. That's all it took for him, and he's this mega star, dude. Like, that's the thing about Chimaev is I think that he has that talk too, right? I came to smash, like that Khabib type style where I think honestly the UFC will try to push him straight. That's why I talk title conversation, not because it makes sense logistically or logically, but because the UFC is a business and it's about putting asses in seats, and Chimaev puts asses in seats. It's as simple as that. So ultimately, AJ, who's the pick, man? Who you got? What round? Why?
I'm going Chimaev, my man. KO round 1. Like I said, until proven otherwise, I think that's a safe pick, smart pick. And that's how I see it going, to be honest, too. If you break it down and actually look at this guy, this dude has some serious power, not only in the ground, amazing ground game, crazy length, really good power. He's outsizing by, 75-inch reach versus, he has 3 inches on Jingliang and a lot more power. It's going to be an early one, I think. What about you, Derek? Who you going and why?
I'm going Chimaev here, man. At first, I wasn't buying in, but now I'm sold, man. I'm bought into it after watching all the fights, man. It's just like, it's literally the same thing every single time. I can't say that enough times. So I'm going Chimaev, but I'm going KO, TKO, ground and pound, early round 2. I think that Jingliang will escape the first round because he's a tough dude, man. I don't want to disrespect him and just say, he'll just get knocked out early. But I do think we'll get knocked out eventually. And it's going to be interesting, though, because we're both doing some bold stuff right here. Jingliang has never been knocked out before, ever in his career. He's only been submitted once, lost 5 decisions. If this goes to decision, it'll be very, very impressive for Jingliang. But I think that style of Chimaev, where he's just throwing shots on top of you, ground and pound, is what gets the referees to be like, all right, it's over, because you have him covering up. You move. You can't move because he got a Dagestani handcuff on you and he's throwing shots on your hand. So literally, you're unable to move. So that's that, folks. We're both going Chimaev here. AJ going round 1. I'm going early round 2. Either way, a knockout is a knockout. Take the under, folks. The under is at -115. Take the under, folks.